because when I went on my book tour, there's
ready
always,
for this story?
whenever I go on my book tour, of course, I'm speaking rapturously about Jessica Tandy and Katharine Hepburn and Kim Stanley and this and that. And of course, the smart interviewer, and I used to be one, I do the same thing. Yes, but, like, here it comes. Who were the people who were really difficult? And the first time when I was on a radio program, I mean, it's like we're live, I can't do anything. I said, oh, what the heck, what are they going to do? I said, there were a lot of people who didn't want to be interviewed, but they were polite. They'd say, I don't want to do it. That's fine. And then the book got a pub date and they all wanted to be in it. So then they all come at the last minute. It's like that. It's like the helicopter out of Saigon. But then I said, there were only 2 women who were really horrible.
Well, who's the other one?
Faye Dunaway and Laura McCall. Yeah, and so they're not in the book because they just yelled. And the weird thing about Laura McCall is she was so horrible in her apartment to me. But then I'd be out. The Dakota, yes. And then I'd be, where she had a dog that humped everything. So it was very surreal. It's on YouTube, you can find it. Glenn Close and Laura McCall watch her dog hump everything. There's your assignment. And there's this dog and it's like, stop! You know, like, and then Laura McCall's yelling at me and the dog is humping me. And I just finally said, well, then why am I here? If you don't want to talk to me, why am I here? And that's how you deal with Laura McCall. Then she went, I like this kid. But I was so pissed by then that I was like, I just want to go. And Phyllis Newman, who was a good friend of hers, said, oh,
she was the only good friend she had.
That's how Lauren worked. She tested everybody. If you had balls, if you had courage. Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. She didn't like me because I didn't cater to her irrational demands.
Yeah.
I remember, this was during Waiting in the Wings, and she had an agreement that the production paid for her assistant, and by the time the show opened in New York, she was on her 4th assistant. And when I called the house in the morning, I said, oh, that's a new voice, what's your name? And she said, Mary, but don't put it in ink. That was McCall.
Yeah, she was tough.
Faye Dunaway, I told you the story before.
Yeah.
Standing still here. Faye Dunaway, you all know she is Bonnie and Clyde and what else? Network.
Chinatown. Mommy Dearest.
And, well, the best story I can't tell, can I?
Which was the best one?
About her old boyfriend.
I thought that was the one you were going to tell.
No, I was going to tell the one about, she was touring in Masterclass. A wonderful producer, Bob Whitehead, was producing, and I ran into him. And I said, Faye's doing great business. I read all over the country. Are you going to bring it in? And he said, David, life is too short. It's just not worth it. Do you want me to tell the one with, am I allowed to say a dirty word?
Yes, you are.
Can I tell that story? You know the story. I can tell.
You know the story already?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay.
I can't. No, I'm shy.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. A friend of mine, Vic Arnold, who was in the original cast of Fortune in Men's Eyes, had an affair with Faye back in the 60s. A long affair. And about 5 years ago, he ran into her on the street. And he said, Faye. And she looked at him and said, do I know you? And he said, well, I fucked you about 40 times.
See, if I were writing that, it was and.
Well, that's going viral.
As we speak.
Now it is.
We were viral as we speak. I like that. We're going viral right before that.
Can she sue me for that?
No, sure. Well, she can sue us for anything.
In context, it's true.
She can sue
Is
us.
Faye in the house?
Oh. She's been here before. There was a story
What?
that they thought she was shoplifting because she Google it. No, she was like so badly dressed and was walking around, and they followed her around. And it was Faye Dunaway.
That's Winona Ryder.
No.
Hedy Lamarr.
Hedy Lamarr. All the great shoplifting stories.
Name 5, you know, I always had to get, name 5 shoplifters and name 3 movies that Shelley Winters drowned.
Well, let's see. Side Adventure, Night of the Hunter. What's the third Shelley Winters film in which she drowned?
Place in the Sun.
Oh, but see, I don't consider that a drowning. I
You think he killed her? He did not. Monty Clift did not kill her.
That's not exactly drown. That's like just, she was so annoying. And I love Shelley, one of the nicest people on earth, but
Ooh,
Shelley Winters,
right.
she was nice to me, but I couldn't stand any more time with her. I think that, you know what? We can do this. This is how we tie this back into the Fortune Society. We scare them straight.
We may never work again.
We scare them straight by saying, if you are a recidivist, if you get in trouble again, Jim Grissom is going to call you and imitate Shelley Winters. It will drive you insane. She sounds like an old Buick trying to get started. You know how she goes, I fucked him, what's his name? Where do I start? You know, tall, big dick, tall. You mean Sterling Hayden? Sterling Hayden. It's like, it was this Alzheimer's like roulette. You know, and it's like she'd throw out adjectives and descriptions, and I'd be like trying to guess it, but it was that voice.
Well, we were in the old, any of you remember the old theater bar across the street from the Golden? Nobody knows, right? The theater bar was where everybody in the theater hung out after shows. And we were in there one night, and no one could talk. You know the way music now drowns out the conversation? Yeah. Well, Shelley Winters was drowning everything out. No one could talk. And finally, I was sitting with a friend of mine, Bob Larkin, and he leaned around and he said, I loved your place in the sun, Mrs. Winters, but would you lower your voice? And everybody applauded because he couldn't hear.
Well, Elizabeth Taylor said, Place in the Sun was her favorite movie.
Oh, she was so beautiful.
Even more than Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Wasn't she beautiful in that?
I've been to so many, that scene where she's dancing, they go out with Mama, and she says, tell Mama.
Yeah, Stevens directed it. The interesting thing is, Monty Clift got a nomination, and Shelley Winters. They couldn't believe that Elizabeth, at 18, who was so beautiful, was acting so well. But if you see that movie now, Place in the Sun, it's a stunning performance, a great film performance by a wonderful actress. But because she was so beautiful, it took years before they finally got it, the fact that she really could act.
Well, and Mike Nichols told me, he said, I'm tired of everyone saying that I over-directed her.
And what, Virginia Woolf?
They all said, whoa.
Her second Oscar.
Well, yeah, she was great in that, because Mike Nichols went count 3, blink, turn here.
Eddie wanted to do that part.
James Mason.
And when she said that Elizabeth got it, she said, oh, well, if that's the way they're going.
I know. But I mean, he said that is so untrue. He said, now, I do think Richard helped her a great deal. He said, but she always downplayed her talent. She would say, I was a child performer. I knew how to go to a certain place and look up plaintively. But not everybody can look up plaintively and be Elizabeth Taylor. I mean, she denigrated herself too much. But Place in the Sun was her favorite movie. Virginia Woolf was the second. One time she called me, she said, I forget which anniversary it was, maybe the 40th anniversary of A Place in the Sun. And there was, in Los Angeles, it was a big screening, and anybody who was still living, who was, in Place in the Sun went. So it was Shelley and Elizabeth, maybe Keith Russell was there, I don't know. But anyway, beautiful remaster, beautiful print, and watching it, and Elizabeth said, I got caught up in it again. Even though, I remember when that was shot, I remember I had my period in that shot, I remembered I was in a bad mood. I mean, I suddenly forgot all that, got lost.
It's one of the great American movies, and George Stevens did a great job.
And she said, but this is what stunned her. When Shelley Winters fell in the water, they applauded. She was like,
oh, thank God, with that whiny voice.
Young George, that's not the way it's supposed to go. Well, and so Elizabeth said, I think it's the way Shelley behaved in the courtyard before the movie.
Yes, but I mean, if you had Elizabeth waiting back at the house, and you had Shelley in the boat whining, push her over.
Push her over.
Get rid of her.
Push her over. And then, but Elizabeth was, she made so many movies, back to back, that she would forget. She said, she called me and said, I completely forgot Raymond Burr was in that. In the courtroom.
He was the prosecutor.
Yeah, so I didn't know he was in. I mean, so when I would come in there as this fan, talking to people, I came at it with this encyclopedic, I studied it, I loved it, and so forth. And a lot of them had to say, we don't have that same relationship to our work. We would finish that one and be driven to another lot and do another scene and go back and forth. And then you keep working and you're busy and you don't see a film for years and years. So she enjoyed it. We talked about she was an other-oriented person. She wanted to start seeing things through the eyes of someone like myself, a Rube, who was really learning all this.
Louisiana.
From Louisiana.